Okay, so we're back here again, and so we kind of left off with deterrence theory, so I just thought we'll pick up from that. So recall, right, when we talk about deterrence, that this is initiated around, I don't know, I think I said like late 1700s, maybe later, I don't know, to 1800s, right? And when this theory is being put into place, right, there is no systematic data collection at the time, right? I mean, there might be for like a census or something. There are court records and people can do kind of preliminary analysis, but it's very slow. It isn't really organized. And it leaves something to be desired in the sense of it doesn't square with like modern data keeping practices and procedures and protocol and things like that. So about the only thing that's maybe sure right is that people probably guess why there are certain patterns, and they probably guess as well as that young people are most involved. Of course, a lot of people died younger anyway. Back in this era anyway, because the life expectancies were so much shorter, but like that's a discussion for a different time. So when we think about like correlates though, sorry for the weird highlight. So when we think about correlates and how this theory explains it, first is going to be like when we think about men, right? Or we think about biosex, where we know that biological males are more likely to commit crime, right? So if we think about what the theory is trying to do, it's explaining why people do not commit crime or how you can prevent crime from happening. And so if we look at deterrence theory, right, it's not really designed to answer this question. It's just poorly formed to do that. In the sense that it doesn't have like really anything in somatic. It's like, hey, this is what you do to create a punishment that, stop people from doing it, right? So I guess like a big question, this would be good for like a pack or something like that, would be why are men less deterred? And why are women, biological women, is what we're referring to again. Just to be clear, we're just leaving it this for now. So why are women more deterred, I guess would be the question. The same thing, if we think about this question pops up for age as well. So why, again, like the theory is not made to answer these correlates because there really isn't a system or body of research that exists at this time that suggests anything. So why are younger people commit more crime? Don't really have like a good answer that's baked into the theory, and so on and so forth. The same is also true for ethnic background. So that part, is also the same thing. We'll just we'll put these parentheses in to illustrate that we're repeating this. And then when we think about poverty, it's the same kind of thing, right? Where we don't really have really solid answers here. So in terms of the correlates, right, of crime that we find in place, deterrence was envisioned before we had like data about anything, right? Before data, so there wasn't really anything it was asked to do. There was no like theory building to happen at this time. So we'll know this like coming through, right? So this is something we should keep in mind about deterrence theory, is that it may or may not be good or beneficial because of these issues. It doesn't have a built-in explanation that can account for these variations in criminal behavior. So keep that in mind as well. So the other part, though, is that we also start thinking about criteria. So we think about criteria for like a good or bad crime, right? We have parsimony. As an example, we also have empirical validity. Precision and clarity. So those are like good 3. I'll leave the rest for y'all to do on your own, but this would be a really good practice to do on your own for drawing up these. So we think about parsimony, right? So we know that deterrence is kind of simple, right? We have to manipulate these 3 simple things. The certainty, severity, celerity of punishment. We can deter individuals or the population. Crime is deterred when people are certain it's going to happen, the punishment is sufficiently severe, and it'll happen relatively quickly, right? And it's sort of, really, really good, really simple, easy to understand. We think about precision and clarity, though, it's like, how do we actually implement these concepts? So when you think about, like severity, right? That's the easiest to do. We could torture someone, we could kill someone, we could lock them up, no more chocolate chip cookies for the rest of your life, like whatever, right? It's very easy to manipulate the severity part of a punishment, right? So we state that it's a punishment, that this is going to be for like wrongdoing that's occurring, and like we could fix it, or we can get rid of it, right? But, certainty gets a little bit more clear, so you're sure you're going to get caught, but like, how do we manipulate this? How do we make people less sure or more sure that they're going to get caught? As well as celerity, as in like the speed of what process? Is it the speed that you are arrested by someone? Is it the speed that you receive your punishment? Is it the speed that your punishment is conducted, or something like that? So there's a lot of ambiguity on the theory here as well. Empirical validity, though, that's an important one that you guys should do your independent research on. Because, when we look at like empirical validity, how do we end up deterring someone? There's a lot of different ways that we can manipulate this. So if we think about, it's probably gonna be like too dark. We'll go back to this color. So when we think about like this sort of theory, right, we know that we can enhance certainty or the perception of in a lot of different ways. It's very easy to do things like put in police cars or put in like a neighborhood watch system. If you think about like locations and stuff where people may or may not think they're getting caught, this could be lighting, like at a building. This could be, cameras, something like that. And any kind of manipulation, this could make it easy to do. So this would be, a good like policy implication, is that there are ways that we can affect the perceptual process, so the perceptual certainty that one will get caught for committing a crime. We also know that there are issues with like severity. So in that, we can like alter the prison sentence or do, one type of punishment or another, right? So it's very easy to do that. But what's perhaps like, hardest to do is the celerity, sort of speeding up the process. And that's mainly because we value rights. Of people, there is a court process, so there is due process. And from a government level, we have to protect these rights. Informally, though, like in a workplace or in a family situation, you can move much quicker. But that isn't necessarily the case, right? So in all those ways that you can affect celerity, but a lot of the policy implications from this come from either increasing police or increasing like the sentence length, right? Those are the areas that receive the most attention. And as such, we'll kind of leave that as that. I'll leave those other parts for you to do, but until then, I'll see you guys next video.